Hello, Ray Lee with Speedboat Magazine, back with another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast with my bro, Myrick Coil. And we have none other than MTI's CEO, founder, Randy Sism. How are you, Randy?
Doing great, guys. How about you?
Really good.
Yeah, doing great, other than really cold.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I understand you guys are getting some freezing temperatures out back where you guys are at.
Yeah, they're actually coves and the Niagara arm's frozen over, so it's rare that the main channel freezes over, but it's getting there. So starting to worry about the ramps and got all the de-icers going and things like that.
Wow.
But time
Over
to
your
go to
place too,
Florida,
Randy?
right, Randy?
I'm going Thursday morning.
I'm going the wrong direction. I'm going to Colorado to go skiing, and still cold. So
I can't believe you're not allergic to that white stuff yet.
yeah, I know.
Well, want to thank you for joining us, Randy. It's an honor to have you on the podcast with us. So let's get right into it. Wanted to see how your passion for powerboats started, and at what age, and how you got into this whole world.
Wow, that's a long story. Well, I started a long time ago. We had boats growing up. I always loved the boating, and when I got the opportunity to do a little bit more of it, I had a client offer to have me go look at a boat with him. So we went and checked something out, and next thing I know, we were in the boat business, and I got a chance to go overseas, and I lived in Dubai for 8 years full time, and 2 years back and forth for almost 10 years in Dubai and back here. And we started Victory Team. We did a lot of racing over there. We learned a lot over there. And it was funny because the more we settled the boats down, the faster they got. And we started building our own boats over there. So that's kind of how it all started and where MTI came from.
What's it like in Dubai? Never been. I've people say bucket list, but I think it would be so cool to go over there and race and just experience the whole boating world in Dubai.
Yeah, it's so cool over there, and back when we moved over there in '89, it was just booming. It was much younger than it is now as far as the city, but boat racing was important, and over there they treated you like a baseball player or something. Everybody knew everybody, and it was so cool. We raced over there, and we managed to win most of the races over there, and then we got to go into Europe and race over there, and we raced a couple of classes there, and then we ended up just doing class one in the end. But yeah, they are serious about boat racing.
That's neat. A lot of the things that I think about, the logistics of those towns being so small and the roads being so small, and you're pulling them big ass boats around, and a lot of the boats that are brought over here from overseas, you notice they have like a flat nose truck, or they have a really unique trailer like we don't see in the United States, because we're used to these big open roads and things like that, compared to the tight spaces that you're trying to take all these monster boats at the time, and still really 42-foot boats, 45-foot boats in all these races. And I just think about the logistics of going to some of the places that you guys raced, and just think how crazy that is.
Man, in Europe it is tight. You got the boat tilted, you got the flat nose trucks, and you're going around, and there is no room. It's nothing like here for sure. We've got it made here, but it was a great time over there.
That's cool. That's cool.
So let's rewind a little bit, Randy. I mean, how did you actually get recruited to go over to Dubai within the boating industry? You must have made a name for yourself.
So I had a 24 skater back in the day, and they were looking for boats. They were buying boats, and they ended up buying a 24-foot skater I had, and they shipped it over by airplane. And a friend of mine, Ed, had gone over there to race, and he was there for 2 weeks, and it got blown out. And he says, "Hey, guy, I want you to come over here and do a race with these guys." So I went over there. I didn't have really a clue what the Middle East was like, but everything I could find out said it was safe, it would be okay. So I went over there. We really hit it off with the guys over there. we started doing some racing, and it really exploded. I was shocked that these guys were doing this level of racing over there, and they wanted to do more. And it was their window to the world. It was how they were doing PR, and it worked well for them. And the funny part was they said, "We love boat racing. It's so cheap." I'm like, "What? What?"
Yeah, yeah.
But these guys are racing horses, and that's a whole nother level. So
Yeah.
boat racing was very practical for those guys. It got them a lot of press, and it worked for many, many years. So it was a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. And you actually had your family over there with you as well, right? Your wife Cherell, and I don't know if your kids were there at that time, but you had the family over there.
Well, it was my fiance at the time, but yes,
Okay,
she came
right.
over there. We got married, and then we had kids, and she flew home to have the kids. But yeah, we stayed over there for several years, and we really enjoyed it. It was amazing. And anybody that hasn't been to Dubai or that area, they really should go. It is unbelievable, and it's so far fetched from our perception of what the Middle East is like. I mean, they're very westernized. They're all very well educated. They're all really good people over there, and if you got a chance to go, it's definitely worth going.
That's neat.
When's the last time
you
you were back?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's probably been 5 years ago. We were doing stuff with Abu Dhabi and helping those guys with their team after Victory Team, and we raced there for a few years. And again, it's a great place, great people, and we had a good time over there.
Yeah, so you actually had a 2-boat team there for Abu Dhabi. One having, was it Lamborghinis in it, and the other one having the Mercury QC4V turbos that they had like taken some power away to try to make it equal with the Lamborghinis or something like that.
Yeah, they were detuned. We only got 60% of the throttle. So
Mm.
Mercury had dynoed them and registered them with the UIM. So they were homologated. So they didn't make full power, but they made the same power. And we chose the Mercury product after testing both of them, running them side by side. And we raced against those guys, and most of them ran the Lamborghini stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
we were able to win a world championship over there. And we'd have won the second world champion, but it spit a shim off the top of the valve, and we pulled the valve cover to fix it, and they took points away because we took the valve cover off. So Victory Team got that one, but otherwise we'd have had two of them.
Yeah,
But it was good. It was very competitive.
I've heard a lot about racing over there, and I've noticed a little bit more now that Class 1's came over here in the last year, and see how their rules and their scrutiny or chief scrutineers are on you a lot more than the scrutineers or the tech officials here in the United States. It's like everybody is protesting each other, and everybody's trying to come up with as much drama as they can in a lot of those classes, or in the Class 1 class at that point.
They'll use the rule book as much as they do the race course.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They do. They try and take advantage of everything they can.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the stuff that I really think was innovative when you guys were over there. I mean, I've heard of trimmable rudders and even automated systems, shiftable transmissions, and all this cool stuff to where if you had an endless checkbook or a bottomless, however you want to say it, you can really get creative with all the different things that come into play, that the stuff that we dream about that a lot of the time is out of reach of your money, basically.
So we ran 4-speed gearboxes. You shift on the fly. It was awesome. You could be in the fjords in Norway where it's flat and have a top speed, and come around the corner and it's 6-foot waves and downshift, and you always had power. It was awesome. You could make those things do anything you want. We even developed and made a 4-speed drop boxes. So we had 16 speeds total. So we'll say, as you shift going through there. It was so cool. They eventually banned all that stuff, but it used to be wide open. We had a good time.
That's so cool. And then I've even heard of teams that have, it was almost like a fully automated system to where, you know, there was a telemetry system on there, then the computer was going through and you know, taking throttle away and dropping the tabs or dropping the drives to different turns. But I heard that they outlawed that too. But really cool stuff.
Yeah, they did. There was some trimmable pieces and steerable drives and things that were computer oriented, but that all got banned as well.
Yeah.
Is that just within the racing circuit?
Oh yeah, and you know, we had rudders that went up and down, that got banned, but every time they come up with something, they ban it the next year.
Me being a driver, that seems pretty sketchy to have my throttle man to be able to lift my rudder out of the water.
Yeah. Oh, it's exciting. Well, you do it now. It's just called trim.
Yeah.
Number 6 or number 8. If you don't put the skags back in the water, I got no steering.
Yeah. I know that feeling, but it just it seems different when it's you know, just a single blade back there. I think you're putting more emphasis on it or something like that.
Oh yeah, it gets sporty for sure.
So I guess you could say MTI was really literally born out of offshore racing.
Absolutely. We had an R&D program second to none. You know, we had our own. We had engine shops, we had glass shops. You know, we had all the composite work. We did everything in house. We didn't build engines, but we had dynos, and we could test. And our boss was of the opinion, well, who's his best? So we got Keith Eicher, we got Mike DeAnnabelle, we got Mercury, and we bought motors from everybody we could and tested them back to back to back. And not just once, but for each class, you know, the small blocks, the BMW stuff, all the different engine combinations. And then we would pick which one ran the best for that class. And it was amazing. I mean, you know, we spent a large amount of money on R&D for those things. And you know, Mike DeAnnabelle and Spintrons, and, you know, we did a whole lot of R&D that paid off long term. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and all that R&D just goes into helping all the pleasure boats. I mean, thank goodness. I mean, Mercury came out with the QC4V, and then the outboards and the Verados, and now the V10s and the 500s and all that. But you know, a lot of it was derived from all the racers pushing them to the max and trying to learn where the weak point is. So
yeah, we did dry sump drives long before Mercury did it, and we had him over there, and Felix Cherell was on our team, so he had drives. We let him take drives back to race over here, and he was cleaning everybody out. In Key West, Jimmy Gorlitz came over and said,
"Yep,
all right, dude, tell me about these dry sump drives." I said, okay. So I told him, I said, look, they're worth 2 pitches of propeller. He said, there's no way. I said, I'm telling you, they're 2 pitches of propeller. And he says, all right. He left. A little while later, he comes over. He goes, hey, I want you to meet this guy here in our engineering department. I want you to tell him what you told me. And I said, dude, they're 2 pitches. And so he ran it up the flagpole, and they nicknamed it the bullshit drive internally. Sorry about that, guys. No. So nobody believed me. So they went back and they did some stuff, and they ended up doing a test. And I didn't know that was the nickname until later. Some of the internal guys told me. Mm-hmm. And they went to Lake X and they started testing after they did the dry sump. And they're like, oh my God, it's 2 pitches. It's 2 pitches. It accelerates better. It top ends better. It does everything better. And then Mercury came out with the dry sump drive. And it was all driven by race boats. That's the leading edge. And, you know, even this 450 stock outboard class or the 300 class, it's their R&D program. You can't get a better R&D. That stands for wreck and destroy, by the way. So if we can't tear it up, the customer's got it made. So it really helps the consumer to validate all this stuff in a harsh environment. And nobody's harder on equipment than we are. I mean, you go out there racing, you know, you run it beyond its limits.
Yeah.
I got customers that try to knock the motors off the back of the boat. I mean, that's their goal.
Yeah. They're going to do everything they can. I remember taking, we were actually in the Mercury booth, and we were in I think it was Mercury's boat that they had gotten from you, that they were doing. It was a 34. It said Mercury on the side with orange accents. And it was in the, when it was at the stadium over there, when we would be able to use the boats out of there. And I think it was the 300 that was on it. And I went out with them, and I was like, I cannot believe you guys warranty these things, because all we're trying to do is break them off there. I mean, see
It's
what we can do.
amazing.
Yes, it is.
The reliability that comes out of them because of the abuse we give them, and they get all that feedback, and the broken parts go back, and we interact with them, and we have a problem here, and they try and fix it, and it becomes part of the product line.
Yeah. And I'm not just trying to discredit any of their new stuff, but imagine the 450 now compared to when the 450 came out. And it's not big parts. It's just little things, a
Oh
motor
yeah,
mount, a blow off valve, a prop
a
shaft.
bolt.
Yeah, the bolts that go in to hold it all together. Yeah, it's little things that you just find that make it better. That way, when the consumer gets hold of it, they can, feel warm and fuzzy about going out in the ocean.
And these guys can't take them out and abuse them like we do. I mean, they can run them around the lake and put hundreds of hours and go on a little run here and there, but that's all great for validation. But the abuse that we give them is way more than the normal consumer's ever going to give them. So if
That's
they can
true.
make them live for us, and the reliability has been insanely good. I mean, it's amazing what you can do to those things.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and nobody can speak to that better than you. I mean, as many engines that you order for all your boats, be it the catamarans and the center consoles now, it's insane.
I
Yeah.
got guys that can screw up a crowbar in a sandbox.
Yeah. That's what my dad used to always tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
MTI
cool.
just got for 2023 celebrated their 25th anniversary. So congratulations to you on what a huge milestone.
Well,
And
thank you.
you guys went big on throughout the whole year, and we were at the celebration you did in Lake of the Ozarks. And what a turnout, and what a presentation you did for all of your clients and customers and friends.
It's so cool. They're the ones that put us here. It's all about the people. I mean,
Yeah.
the people that work on the boats, the people in the shop, the clients. I mean, it's all about people, and
Yeah.
we try to give them what they want, and they have been phenomenal to us, and they drive our innovations. They push us to the next level. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That's for sure.
I've said it to you before, just talking, and I think you're probably around 400 cats now. I think your number's got to be up there, maybe even
Yeah,
more.
probably so.
You got to think of how many that really is. If you lined up 400 of any boat, whether it's a bass boat, but you start putting, 42-foot cats against 34-foot cats, and then 52s, and I mean all that stuff that's over the years. It's mind blowing to me. And then you add your center consoles, and I don't know what number you're at on that, but it's got to be a lot, because you guys are pumping them out, and it's awesome to work on them, because they are a work of art. That's for sure.
We're very fortunate. Last year we delivered 48 boats. This year we delivered 60. And
Wow.
if all goes according to plan, we're set for 72 next year. We bought more molds, more tooling. So, if we can get 6 a month out, that's good for us.
Yeah, for a lot of people that don't know, kind of share the way that it works, from the Green Bay or Oconto location down through the lake and all that, or through Wentzville and all that.
So, it's a cool process. The order is kind of the beginning of the process, and then the clients come in, and we go through a design meeting, and they pick colors, they pick fabrics, they pick stitching, they pick design, and that's usually a full day. And that's to me, that's one of my favorite parts of the whole process, and the customers really love it. But you walk around, you see it, you touch it, you feel it, and they'll come in wanting a blue and white boat, and we'll go all the way to bright green or dark purple. It goes all
Yeah.
over the place. And they usually end up kind of back where they started, but they walk around and see different things and touch different things. And then as the process goes on, they fine tune it and fine tune it. And Most of them, the hard part is done in a full day. Some of them come back a couple of different times to fine tune them, but
Mhm.
that's the fun part. And then it all starts up in Green Bay. That's where we do all the fiberglass and composite work. That's where the hulls are built, and then that ships down to Wentzville, and that's where all the paint and rigging goes on. And we have several paint shops. We have 3 booths here. We have 4 more outsourced booths that we use, and paint is one of the biggest constraints because it's so time consuming. Because the level of paint that we want the finished product to have is so much higher than most. It just takes sometimes 6 and 8 weeks just in paint, and you got 6 of those going at a time, and it's nonstop.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be up there on the design meeting with the Millers when when they, Lindsay and Tyler, are picking out the 50. And you are correct on all the stuff that they can pick out. I mean, you're talking about the marble on the countertops. You're talking about this fabric back here, or the lighting, or how many speakers do I get, or how many speakers do I want? And and what's neat is then the customer can leave the room or the conference room and go out there and see one that's being built, or see one that's there for service, and really get a good idea for what they want their dream boat to be like. And it is literally mind blowing when you go and sit through it and you think, what, a day? A day it's tough to do it in a day sometimes.
Yeah.
It is. It's a
Especially
lot.
especially with all the options. I was blown away, me being in the service side of things. I think that I might be wrong with the numbers, but they were talking about how long it takes to rig one of the 42Vs versus rigging the 50V. And I think it was like 1,400 or 1,500 hours to rig a 42V, and then like 2,400 hours to rig a 50V. And I mean, I might be off on the numbers, but that is mind blowing. You talk about a workforce and trying to pump this stuff out. It's amazing. It really is.
It is from start to finish. If you count paint and everything all the way through, the 42s push up some of them as much as 7,000 hours, and the 50s about 9,000. And
Geez.
it's crazy the amount of hours it takes. But to get it to this level, that's what it takes. And he can tell you the fabric, the stitching, the down to the minute details. You choose, you pick. I mean, it's
Yeah.
truly custom.
They
My
told
team
me
and I
the
were
other day
fortunate.
they told me the other day that there was 1,000 pieces of upholstery that went into a 50. I mean,
Yeah.
so you're talking all those little cuts to make. You might have a pad that much, or you might have one that's 2 foot long by 10 inches wide, so
It all
1,000
gets
pieces.
sewn together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
1,000
that was
pieces.
going to
Every
be my
piece
point,
of it.
Myrick. We were fortunate enough to go there last year as well. Did a factory tour, and what an impressive operation you have there with everything so organized, and to have all those parts for one boat, and for everything to end up in that boat. I mean, because there's so many different parts and components that need to come together. And Myrick has said this before, is that you can tell that your boats are built by boaters, because like Cherell likes the extra long lounge in the back, right? Because she likes to have her legs out, and just different creature comforts that you would learn about because you're actually out there using the boat, which you guys are, whether it be at an event, side event to a race, or even on vacation. You guys always go boating.
And at the lake, we're always
Mhm.
boating at Lotto. If
Yeah.
we're not out of town, we're down there boating. And
Yeah.
it's such a great environment. It's a family environment, and we welcome all of them.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Well, it's funny because it seems like it's almost like a competition anymore, where everybody's trying to outdo the last 50V or the 42V. Like we saw Austin Carver's 50V in like the Ozarks, and good Lord, that was quite an
I don't think you can
impressive
think of
show.
any more options than that thing had.
Yeah.
That was impressive. He definitely raised the bar yet again.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Who's pushing you now?
Oh, there's a bunch of them. They're all pushing. So, and Joe wants to beat Bob. Bob wants to beat Willie. You know, it's just how many speakers did he get? What did he have? You know, I need more.
Right.
Yeah. You got to, that it always blows me away. The amount of money that just goes through your business on Odyssey batteries and JL audio speakers and yeah. It's like there's some big checks being wrote just to cover the stereo and battery situation, let alone everything else.
It's wild. Absolutely wild.
I can remember going in, I was working for Dave Scott at the time, and we did 2 race boats with you, a 44 that we raced. Well, actually 3 race boats. We did the turbine, we did the unlimited 44, and then we did the 42 Super Cat. And I remember you just starting to be in the building that you're in now there in Westville. Now you've taken it all across the street, down the road, all this. But I can remember when we walked into that, it was basically the cat rigging department, and then it was just kind of like a big old concrete area where you could add a go-kart racetrack in the back. And we're like, what are you going to do back here? And you're like, I really don't know yet. And now it's completely full of 50 Vs, 42 Vs, paint booths. I mean, it's packed.
It's wall to wall.
Yeah, wall to wall. And yeah, and even upstairs and all kinds of cool stuff. It's a really neat thing that you guys have accomplished over the last 25 years. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
What an accomplishment. And not to mention, you've also brought a new class to offshore racing several years ago with the 450R class. And what an exciting class that's become.
It's been great. So Taylor told me she wanted to race, and I said, okay, you know, tell me why.
Your daughter, Taylor Scism.
Yeah. She wanted to learn about propellers and center of gravity and all these things. And she goes, I want to understand what it means. So I bought in hook, line, and sinker. Of course, Mom was a negative. Absolutely not. So you probably heard the story. But anyway, we went ahead and built it. She did an interview on Speed on the Water or Speedboat or somebody and told them we were going racing. And I said, do you think you should call Mom and tell her? And she goes, I guess so. Her and I were in Florida, so it was perfect. So she calls Mom and tells her, hey, we're going to go racing this year. She goes, no, you're not. She goes, yeah, we are. Dad and I have decided. She goes, honey, I run the company. You can't get a boat for almost 2 years. She said, well, you know the one that says Dad's demo? That's my new race boat. Are you shitting me? So the fact that asking for forgiveness instead of permission. But she wanted to go race. So it's a perfect class to get started in. You know, they're great boats. They're safe. They're still plenty fast. And they handle well. They handle the water well. And so I have clients, Willie being one of them, who had a pleasure boat with 39, and he's since got a 42, and now he's got a 44. But he said, Randy, boat racing has always been on my bucket list, but I don't know how. I don't have the expertise to go find a crew chief, to go find somebody to take it to the races, go do all the stuff for maintenance. He goes, I don't know how. He said, if you can figure it out, I'll order a boat. I said, okay. So we put a program together. He was the first one. And, you know, it's worked out well for him. He's been there 2 seasons now, and he's having a ball. He won the world championship.
Yeah.
And,
for him.
you know, in 2 short years, I mean, there's guys out there going that have never won a championship.
Right.
And he's been super competitive, you know. Milton and all the guys take care of the boat, maintain it for him. And it's funny, he told me a story the other day, and he says, you know, I'll do this however long you want to do it. He says, I'm just a visitor. I said, what do you mean? He said, dude, this is your world. I'm just visiting. I'm just coming in to go race.
He's such a nice guy. Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
He is a nice guy.
Nicer guy.
Yeah, he is.
And he was so excited to win the world championship. So congratulations to Willie and GC Racing.
Absolutely.
And, absolutely great show.
It was Sean rather than GC. Oh, GC's him. Yeah. I'm sorry, but him and Sean.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and they put it together. And then the Reed family.
I was just going to say, Zane Mead. Yeah.
Mead.
Yeah.
Zane
and Caleb. Amanda and Caleb. You know, here's a brand new kid with no experience. and you put him in there with a professional, and
Yeah.
he's done amazing, absolutely amazing. And they're getting mentored by, what we believe is some of the best in the business.
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, I've been standing there, and what is the youngster's name? I always get it wrong. Caleb. Caleb. Yeah. So, and he comes up and really mature for a young man like that, and he comes up and he kind of just hangs out with the guys, and I'm like, and I think it's really cool to be able to, I mean, get into a conversation with 16, 17-year-old, because a lot of the time, I mean, boat racers might be 30, 40 years old, so it's neat to get in there with a young kid, and he's really asking the right questions. I like, and like Sheboygan, things like that, where he did really good. And I'm kind of like, so what'd you think out there? He goes, man, that was cool. And I was thinking, man, I don't, maybe when I was 16, I was thinking it was cool. I didn't think it was cool the other day. You know what I mean? But,
it
but
was a little
man,
rough, wasn't it?
yeah, it was rough, but it's, I mean, I've said it on the podcast before, but I've always thought it was really neat that Caleb and his dad Zane, so nice, and how they're into it. And I remember standing there at St. Pete with Caleb, and he was like, "Yeah, my dad won't let me go to Key West because it's too much time off school." And I've laughed, and I'm like, "Yeah, well, it won't be long, buddy." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." So it's a really, really cool, really cool.
It's so cool. The Meade family is amazing people, and we're sure happy they joined us, and they're doing awesome, and I think they're having a blast doing it. And let's face it, this sport needs some fresh blood. I mean, we need new people, and
You're right.
And what better way to get them in than to start here and move them up through the ranks?
Yeah, and what a great idea, for the concierge service for people and teams that want to do that. So that's great.
They just don't. They have the ability. They just don't know how, and it takes the guesswork out of them. When we try and pair them up with somebody that's a good fit, and it seems to be working.
Yeah. I tell you what, when you go by, not necessarily even just at Key West, but any of the races to where you're going by the MTI camp or whatever you want to call it, but when the truck is there with the tents out of both sides, and you might have 2 or 3 boats there, it's a real spectacle, and it's a neat thing to see because I mean, to go when you guys just thought about it, and for a few races there you were the only boat in the class, and I know that's frustrating because people start giving you like, well, when you're gonna have some competition, next thing you know you have competition and you're winning, and it's like, man, so what I dreamt is now here, and now we got something going on, and it's grown to what it has, which one of the premier classes, it was neat deal.
And it was such a great learning experience for Taylor, putting her in there with Johnny, who's phenomenal. And
yeah, my mentor too.
They got to run around and learn and test, and people think it's easy, but it's not. It's as hard as any class. And these guys are running as hard as they can run these boats, just like all the big classes. And we go, like before Key West, we went out in Biscayne Bay. We set up the exact course, and Key West was 40 miles the first day or two, and then maybe 60 or 80 on the last day. And we ran about 250 miles worth of laps testing before we went to the race. So we ran prop after prop after prop. And, that's what gets everybody interested and excited. And you show up, you pick a propeller, and you go. You already know the course.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in a Super Cat. The motors will be wore out.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. We're like at 15 hours and they're done. So,
yeah. And, these things are second year now, and some of them are on a third year now, and they just run and run and run. The motors are validated for God knows how many hours, thousands.
Yeah, they don't even, and people always say to me, even in the 300 class, they're like, well, don't you worry about them being down on power? I'm like, they don't lose power. I mean, as long as they're not broke, they're making the same power they were before.
Give them water and gas, and they're happy. That's right. It. It's not magic.
Yeah. Well, Taylor Scism, who serves as your director of client relations at MTI, like you said, became an offshore racer a couple years ago, back-to-back world championships, national championships, and like to your point, Myrick, hushed the naysayers about racing herself because she went out and beat the competition. And on top of that, she's done an amazing job putting together events for MTI clients and customers. You guys just came off of your New Year's run and your other run to the Bahamas and another run to Duck Key. She's quite the superstar.
Rock star for me. But
Yeah.
yes, so we're coming up on our March fun run. That'll be our next event. We just finished New Year's. In June, we do our Bahamas run. That went live this morning. So I don't know how many are signed up so far, but we have to limit the number of boats because of space over there. You know, it's hard to get a big number in. But in March, we try to limit it to 50, but I know we're over that by a few. But that's one of the favorite events of the year. People love it. They get to come down. They get to enjoy their boat. They meet new people. They make new friends. And, you know, we tell everybody they're in the family, and it truly is that kind of environment. Bring the kids, bring whoever. It's very family oriented, but very performance oriented. The guys get to have a blast.
Yeah. And even there, you have all the customers get their boats wiped down on the docks. Everything is done top notch. You have the white party.
We try to make it first class for them and make it very much an upscale event that they want to go to. We make it as easy as we can. When you get back to the hotel at night, or we get back in there, I mean, Hawks Cay, the guys will wash the boats. They'll clean the boats. They'll cover the boats. They'll uncover the boats in the morning, wipe the dew down. You just show up, enjoy yourself, go to dinners, go do whatever you want to do. Come back in the morning, you're ready to go. And you know, if you have a problem, we hope you don't, but if you do, Milton's got his guys there. We have our big support trailer there, and we try and get you going by morning again. And, you know, we'll do everything in our power to keep you going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to be at this event, and he's not exaggerating. It is exactly how Randy's describing it. It's like, it makes boating so much fun, and for people to bring their family and to bring you know, their buddies in, and then to go to this. I mean, you might not think Hawks Cay is exotic, but when you go out in the ocean and you come back to this little bay and there's dolphins over here, and you got this nice marina and there's guys helping you out, you know, it might just be as simple as your stereo don't turn on, you know, but they're, you know, or whatever it is, but you know, that they're there to help, and it's really cool.
You are a VIP.
That's correct.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, and it's also a concierge service for pleasure boaters that have never done the Florida Keys or anything like that, that, you know, that want to learn how to do that. And they tag along with the group, become part of the family, and have a great weekend.
We have so many clients. It's their first event outside of their local, you know, area. And everybody's a little nervous about going down to the Keys, and they've never been there. But once they go there, they absolutely love it. And I can't tell you how many of them have signed up for our white glove service with Milton down at Hullover. You know, in the wintertime, we'll have between 30 and 50 boats there all winter long that they just fly in, get in their boat, and go boating after they go with us because they know where to go. They got breadcrumbs, and they can go bring their friends and their family. And it's just such a cool way to spend your wintertime instead of putting it in storage and only getting 3 or 4 months of use.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the confidence is, I think what Randy's saying is, I mean, if you've never done it, you're like, oh man, that's the ocean, you know, but then if you like, hey, I followed some people through here and that wasn't bad, you know, and now we're in Biscayne Bay, and we go down here, we go to Alabama Jacks, we go to Gilbert's, and we go to all these places that are so much fun, and that you might not even have known were there unless somebody like guided you the first time. But now you can go down by yourself and seem like you really know what you're doing, even though you've done it one time.
You're comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes you comfortable, and you know, I love the fact they can use their boat year round. It just you know, they can fly in, pick their boat up, go boating for the day, come back, or go for the weekend or the week, whatever they like. Come back, tie it up to the dock, and leave. We'll take care of it.
I mean, it's crazy. You go to Hullover on, you know, any given weekend in the wintertime. And here comes an Uber with a bunch of luggage, and the luggage is going immediately out of the Uber right into the boat, which is already tied up there. And now they're heading south, and we'll see you in 3 or 4 days, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's, that is that I want to go do, I want to do that tomorrow. I mean, that sounds fun.
Well, I've been lucky enough to be on board with Randy several times, and even after being in the industry for this long and just celebrating your 25 years, and then however long before that, you still love running your boats. I mean, with your wife and Taylor on board, and it's just cool to see you guys still enjoying the passion that you guys have had for years.
I love boating. I eat, drink, and sleep boating. And if we're not doing something that's a boating event, we're boating. You know,
Yeah.
we are boaters. You know, we love it.
You're correct. I'll testify to that. I mean, there's so many times where we're there at performance, and here comes Randy, whether it's a new demo or a customer's boat that he's got to test, and he's heading over to the dock and he's going to try some props, and the guys that got their props all lined up to go over there and try it out. And it's definitely you've got the best proving grounds there are with Lake of the Ozarks, and then your South Florida location too.
It's awesome, man. It works really, really well for everybody.
And going back to Milton,
did you ever think that the center console? Well, I know when you were doing it, did you ever think that the center console was going to be so freaking cool?
Good question. Yeah.
I didn't know how cool it was going to be. And the center console is really where we learned about how dependable the outboards were, and made us go ahead and start the cat line, because, you know, it was confidence. I think these things will live. You know, in the old days, you had the reliability somewhat, but now they're so easy. Yeah. It's just the easy button. All of it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can bring so many people on board with you, and everybody's comfortable wherever they're sitting on the boat.
Oh, yeah. If a couple extra ones show up, you don't care. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to before.
Well, I was going to say, going back to your mention of Milton, you've got quite the team behind you. Milton down in Hollover is awesome. Taylor, of course, Sean, Tom Stewart, John Teague. You've got, and then the others that are,
and then 195 or 200 more behind that too.
A little over 200. Yeah.
Yeah. What an impressive team.
It's about the people, man. I'm so fortunate to have such good people. And, you know, somebody said, well, why are you building boats in Missouri? Like, it's the Midwest values, man. These people do what they love. They love what they do, and they care. And I love the Midwest attitude. You know, it's just, it's cool. Everybody here is into what they're doing. And awesome. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got the Miami Boat Show coming up on us next month. What do you have in store for that?
We'll have 4 boats in there. The newest one will be our new 48, I think. It's being rigged now. We should have that done in time for the show. That's the big push.
Let's talk about that, because you had a 48 previously in your lineup, and this is a new one. What's different?
So this is the 482 is what we're calling it. It's a second generation. It's all new tooling, new molds, new hull, new deck, new everything. The running surface is about 18 inches longer than the previous 48. So we shortened the bustle on the back a little bit so that we could still get it in that 48 range. If you go 50 or over, it's a problem with some of the marinas. They don't want to do bigger boats. But the 48 has always been a sweet spot for us. I think it's been our best running boat we've ever built. So this is an improvement on that without quite going up to the 52, which is still a great boat. It rides and handles great. But the 48 is just a sweetheart. It's a really happy boat. And now it's got a little bit more running surface. It should be even better.
Awesome. And you've learned a lot over the last, I mean, I'd say 5 years, but over the 25 years, but 5 years with the carbon that you guys have been using, or the laminate that you guys have been using to make the boats lighter and just as strong. And talk a little bit about that.
So yeah, the laminates have come a long ways. The composite stuff we're using is lighter and stronger, so that helps as well. So the boats are stronger, tougher, lighter, and faster, and handle better. And by making it even longer, it should even handle better than it has so far.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about this new boat.
Yeah. One of the,
All new, everything's new.
yeah, for a lot of people that don't know, weight is a big thing when you're dealing with big cats. So when you can get that weight down, it makes it way easier to get the setup right and not have a porpoise or not have it fall on its nose going into a turn and things like that. So and that's what basically their new boat is going to be even better than their old boat, we hope. Which the old boat's
Absolutely.
great.
Well, thank you. And even our little outboard cats are the same way. Weight is so important. We used to say 1 cheeseburger, 1 mile an hour.
Oh man, I'm doomed. Yeah.
So what else does MTI have in store for 2024, both as a company and the race team?
So they're finalizing the schedule now. I think there's 8 races. I believe they were going to count 6 and drop 2. But now I heard today there may be a 9th race coming on the schedule, so I'm not sure about that. I don't think we're going to make all 9 races, but some of the guys will.
Yeah,
Stuff.
So we'll see how that goes, and looking forward to a good year racing. And we're going to do quite a few poker run events this year. We've got scheduled, and Taylor set up a whole process for that, and we've kind of put together a poker run team as well as a race team. So I may just be going from event to event to event. So it's going to be good. We have,
Yeah.
I think she has 21 events on the calendar.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that they moved the Sarasota race out of that so I can be at Lake of the Ozarks for 4th of July for, it's been a long time.
Won't that be nice?
Yeah, that'll be nice. So,
Well,
Randy, with you
taking
going
so
from
much,
event, yeah, go ahead, Ray. Sorry.
but yeah, with Taylor taking so much off your plate, it's got to be a little bit of a breather for you and nice change of pace for you.
It is. She's taking on more and more responsibility, and I'm overloading her, but so far she's held on. The pressure's there, but she's doing more and more with the company, and that's good. It's going to give me more time to travel and do different events, which really is my favorite part of the whole deal anyway. So we built a team around her that's first class.
Yeah.
And you're about to get
she's getting married.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Sean's going to be in that mix for sure.
That's
yep.
cool.
4/4/24.
There you go.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. You saying going from event to event to event, I know that you're an avid pilot. I've flown with you before, so that's got to be handy for all of your traveling everywhere.
Oh, it is. I tell everybody it saves me a day going and a day coming if you have to go do it the normal way. So if I just did 10 events, that'd be 20 days. That's a month working that I get back. So, and this year's going to be a lot more than that. So it's invaluable. It's our little time machine.
That's cool. That is cool.
Yeah. I mean, there have been times where you've flown in on the morning of event and then out on the same evening. And it just adds to your work time or family time.
It does. Yeah. It helps a bunch.
There's times where we're leaving the award ceremony and he's already flown into Spirit and on his way back to the house there in St. Louis. So, I mean, that's a big deal.
It's a cheater for sure.
So, tough question for you. Which do you prefer, flying a plane or piloting a boat anymore?
I'm a boat guy. I love the plane, but I'm a boat guy, 100%. It's pleasure. The plane is strictly business, to get from A to B. And I enjoy that too. But I don't just go out and fly for pleasure, but I do boat for pleasure a lot.
Yeah. And you've also taken cues from the airplanes as far as the aerodynamics and incorporated that into your boats and the designs.
Oh yeah, it's a big part of it. We've done that from the very beginning, and there's a lot of things that are incorporated into the boat that are based off of that.
Yeah. Very cool. Like the wing on your center consoles.
Yeah, exactly that. and the wing on the cats is a big deal too. Even
Yeah.
back when we were racing the class 1 and all those classes, we try to. They all have to weigh the same thing at the crane, but they don't have to weigh the same thing at speed.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've had, not that it's over by a long shot, but you've had an amazing career. What are some of your favorite memories or experiences that you've had to date?
Oh, I don't know. Taylor racing in Key West is a pretty big one. I would say Dubai, a lot of the races and some of the races in Europe were amazing. And, the class 1 stuff over there, I mean, you're wearing a sports coat to the parties at night, and they're pretty wild. And that was
Yeah.
a really big deal for us. And we enjoyed the Middle East a lot. We enjoyed Europe. We did that for many, many years. We were in the wintertime, we were in the Middle East. In the summertime, we were in Europe. We were based in Pisa for several years. And so there was a lot of really good racing over there. And then honestly, our poker run events are just amazing. The one down in the Keys is probably my second favorite poker run event of the year. It was my first until we started going to the Bahamas. You talk
Yeah.
about a bucket list.
Yeah.
That is one event you have to make. That one's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. Our photographer Tommy, who you guys use quite a bit too,
Sure.
was down there and took some amazing photos of your trip there, and it definitely made me jealous of him being on board with you guys.
We actually have folks that buy the boats because they want to do the events, and I think that's so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally agree.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, it's definitely got some cool factor to it. I mean, you think about that, and it's neat. Gives
It's
me
kind of a
goosebumps.
lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, when you're buying a boat that I mean, they're not cheap. So when you're buying something like that, I mean, it's something that you really got to dig it. I mean, because it sure is, a big investment. And then to be able to go there and share it with their families and their friends, I mean, that's probably some of their, these people that buy these boats and get to go on those events. It's the best vacations they've ever had. So, they
I agree.
really,
And
yeah,
so many of these companies, you buy the boat and here's your key and see ya.
yeah, exactly.
We want to give you a place to use it and enjoy it and meet new friends and use it more. And I think using it is the best part.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yep.
I mean, last year at the Miami Boat Show, I remember myself and our test team driver Bob Teague was out there, and you were kind enough to let us run your 42V, and so we ran that out, and Bob was like, "Wow, this boat is amazing," and put that back on the dock, and then we took the 50 out. Right after that, he goes, "Never mind, this one is amazing." He's like, "They're both amazing," but he didn't think anything could top the 42V until he got into the 50V.
The 42V does amazing. It's awesome. The 50 just does it a little better. It's just wild. Each one moves up the notch,
Yeah.
Man.
Very impressive.
It's mind blowing when you can take people on a ride, especially when it's their first time. I was fortunate enough. Scott Rosenbach let me use this 50 for my son's 15th birthday this year. And so he took my mom and dad and people that don't get to ride on them so much. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever." And we're just riding around a place that we normally ride on, and it just makes it even better. So it's a neat deal.
Yeah.
I think, with us as Speedboat Magazine, we're on the road quite a bit, but you guys might be the only group that is traveling even more than we are. Do you ever get tired?
I really enjoy it. Sometimes my wife says, "I just want to go home for a day." We'll get back there once in a while, but we travel a lot and we really enjoy it. So, and we enjoy the people, it's so cool. And every event has a different group of people. And even the events we do over and over, the boat races, it's so cool because we get together with all our friends and go racing and have a blast. And we all have the same interests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even I know your pleasure vacations away from boating are sometimes spent with boating friends like John O'Neill you went on vacation with last year.
Oh yeah, we went to Monaco. It was his plan, and we were going on a cruise, my wife and I. So he said, well, "When are you going?" I told him, and we were going out of Rome, and well, it just happened that the Monaco Grand Prix was the week previous, so it ended 2 days before we had to be in Rome, and so they got together, the girls, and put a plan together, and we kind of piggybacked on their deal, and it was amazing. We had a blast.
That's great.
Yeah.
But again, they're friends. We've made a great deal of good friends.
Yeah. And he's got to be the nicest guy ever, right?
He's a good
probably
one.
one of the nicest in offshore.
Yeah, for sure.
He definitely is.
Yeah, I can always plan on if it's Christmas morning, Thanksgiving, my birthday, anything. He's the first one to give me the text telling me,
Yeah.
you know, such a nice guy for him to
sure.
remember all of us and think of us on those special times. So,
exactly.
And he's always showing me pictures of listening to the podcast too. So, shout out to John O'Neill.
Yeah.
There
hey,
you
John.
go. Hey,
has he purchased a new boat from you yet? Because he's
got a pretty new boat already, but
yeah,
I don't know when I'll see him again. Oh yeah, it's Friday. So we're going down to the Fort Myers poker run. So
nice.
We're going down on Thursday, and then he and I and the families are getting together for Friday, and then Saturday's the poker run, and back home again on Sunday.
Very cool.
Perfect.
Well, Randy, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, and what a career you have, and can't wait to see what you guys have
more
for
years
2024.
To come. Many more boats to come.
There you go. Well, thank you, guys. It's great visiting with you, and hopefully we'll see each other soon.
We will. So thank you very much. Again, this has been another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast with my bro Myrick Coil and the Randy Sism of MTI Boats out of Wentzville, Missouri. Please remember to like, rate, share, and subscribe to the podcast.
Don't forget to join us, Miami, and say hello.
Right? Yeah. Go see Randy and MTI in Miami next month.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'll see you guys down there.
This podcast is powered by Speedboat Magazine. Subscribe now at speedboat.com for 9 power-packed current issues a year direct to your mailbox.